Good morning guys, this is Ace back with another review, and this time we're going to be looking at this guy, which is MG Blitz Gundam. Now this guy is a very cool kit. I was very happy making this guy. It has a couple of, small bad points and all that kind of stuff, but which kit doesn't? So forget about all of that stuff. But overall, this kit is very cool. I was very happy with the way this guy has turned out. Now, this guy is basically he is one of the newer Master Grade kits. So the build I was just a little bit disappointed in. It's very simple to make. There's no real complications. There's no real how should I say this, ingenuity in the build, the mechanics of the inner skeleton and all that kind of stuff. So that's just my little bit of a gripe, because for me, one of the major reasons why I build Gundams is because I enjoy the actual build aspect of it. So how the inner skeleton works, how the pieces go together, how the pieces move when you bend them, these kind of things. I love the way how that works. And some of the newer kits, they're just coming out to be a little bit too similar. Like, for example, I believe for me, it started with Epion, Gundam Epion, then you had Gundam Sandrock, you have this guy, you've got, they've got a lot of the newer kits that are coming out are very similar in build. And I wanted to come up with them, wanted these guys to come up with something a little bit different. If you go back to the RX-78-2, you go back to the Zaku, there's so many kits and all of the builds are very different. So why these guys are coming out with something very similar now, I don't know. Anyway, that's a discussion for another story. Okay, let's Gundam. So now this guy is very cool. Honestly, he is very cool. There's a lot of different things you can do with this guy. He looks great. The color scheme is awesome. He's pretty well articulated and he's got a lot of accessories. What more do you want from a Master Grade? Okay, so now in terms of articulation, this guy is a Master Grade, so he is very cool. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. The head itself is capable of going 360, but at the moment it just kind of gets stuck a little bit, so you have to make sure you're a little bit careful. Otherwise, no problem. It's just, the chin part and the side piece part gets stuck with the shoulder part. So as long as you're careful over there, nothing's going to happen. The arms themselves are complete 360, absolutely no issues there whatsoever. Very nice. The arms themselves do bend almost entirely all the way to the top, so that's really good. The legs as well, they go pretty high up front. Oop. They go pretty high in the back, and in terms of bending, very cool. So almost you do get a complete 180, so no issues there whatsoever. And I love how this thing comes out. This has always been one of the favorite points of any Master Grade or Perfect Grade, is that when you move the joint, you can actually see the different parts moving. Oh, I love that. I love how the knee joint separates out and comes out. And there we go. We have another small piece. So now that all the pieces are back together, continue with the articulation. The waist itself does move around quite a bit. You're going to get all the way there. And it's mainly going to be the back piece pushing up against the back skirt. So apart from that, the actual waist itself can go left to right quite a fair bit, and it does move forward quite a bit as well. So you do get a very good amount of movement here on the waist side for the torso itself. The side skirts do go up fairly high, and the front skirts and the back skirts as well do move around quite a little bit. This whole thing is one big block. I mean, you've got the smaller pieces there, but it's one big piece, so you don't expect too much from the back skirt. But everything else is pretty good. No issues whatsoever. The backpack, as explained as well, does have movement, so you've got the big thrusters in the back here. These guys do move. They're on joints, and they can move up and down, and not really to the left and the right, but a little bit. You don't get too much there. And then this middle piece itself as well is on a joint, so you can get some movement there too, which is pretty cool. I'm very happy the way that thing has turned out. The shoulder as well does have a little bit of movement. You can actually take this piece and extend it out a little bit, and then this part opens up. And you can see the mechanics on the inside part over there, which is pretty good. I mean, you don't really see this on master grades. Most of this stuff is done on perfect grades. So it's a nice touch that they've done. You just have to be a little bit careful that the pieces don't fall off because they are a little bit loose. But nothing, a little bit of glue or a little bit of paint can't fix. So now, in terms of accessories, he does come with his normal stuff, and he hasn't got a huge wings, backpack, or anything like that. But he's got something very cool, and I actually really like this outlay, the way he's got all these thrusters coming out of his back. It's really cool, and even this one, it's got a little bit of movement, so it's really cool. I like the way how this thing looks. He's got a couple of good ingenuities. Let's start with the bad points first. There are not that many, so I want to just get them out of the way. Now, when I was building this guy, there are some pieces which don't fit properly for me. Just to give you an idea, these side pieces on the side skirts are very, very loose. Nothing, nothing overly bad or anything. Just use a little glue if you want, or I'm sure once you paint it, it's going to become a little bit thicker, and then they will stick better. Otherwise, but at the moment, these guys literally just, you touch them in the wrong way and they're going to fall off. So those parts are a little bit weak. Everything is great in the legs. Nothing happens there. There are two, like how you have let me see if I can show you. You've got the black parts over there, which are for the thrusters. These two pieces, they never stick. Absolutely don't stick at all. So I've actually just taken them out. I'm sure when I'm going to be painting them, I'm going to do something to make sure they work out a little bit better. And for me personally, this whole entire back piece is very loose. You've got this one peg which goes in over there, and then these guys are supposed to be pegging in on that side. But for me, these guys are just very, very loose. They come off very easily, this whole back section. So, if I kind of have to fix this around a little bit, don't mind. But that's about it. I can't really complain about anything else. He's got a couple of very nice items in there. He's got a couple of really nice ways things work. So that's about it. The only other thing I could probably say, and I know this is a mixed opinion bag, are these manipulators. The newer kits that you get are all going to have these interchangeable hands where you can just take this part out and you can interchange it with like the gun hand or the closed fist hand or whatever you get. But for me, I still prefer the olden style where you had the thumb, you had the forefinger, and then you had the three fingers together. I preferred that a lot more. I thought it was a lot more usable, and it helped me just kind of pose the arm in the way I want to without having to change pieces out. I've always hated changing the pieces out. Okay, so now in terms of accessories, you do get quite a fair bit. Let me start off with these guys now. You get these little tiny miniature pieces. So you've got the guy standing there and the lady sitting there. Sorry, I have no recollection on these guys, which characters these are. Well, you get those two, which is pretty cool. You get a bunch of different manipulators. So now on the Gundam itself, I've got the one open hand and I've got one trigger hand. And then you get a whole bunch of other ones. So these guys are the closed fists. You get the open fists, or you could say like this hand. And then you also have the other ones of the ones on the Gundam itself. So you've got the other hand for the open palm, open fingers, and the other trigger hand. So not bad in terms of manipulators. You do get quite a lot. You also get this piece, which is basically for the action stand. So this kind of plugs into his crotch area, and then you can plug this into the action stand. You also get this, which is a claw. I was very, very intrigued to see how this thing is going to be like. Now, I haven't seen too much of the anime, so I haven't come to the part where this guy is. I'm working on that now. But this guy is pretty cool when it comes to his claw. Now, this part itself is very easy to make. It's not overly complicated. I thought this part was going to be quite a little complicated, especially with the whole string part that kind of sticks out. But this thing looks really cool in the end. Even the wings themselves have a little bit of movement, which is very nice. So if he wants to fly out this way, he can. Very nice. The thrusters don't have any articulation in them. They're just kind of there. But these guys do. So these guys can obviously bend now and make a claw. Very, very nice. And the way you do it is you just take this that you've got a peg out here, and this just pegs into the thing over here. Very easy to do. Now, the other thing also is that you get this. which is kind of like a plastic wire thing. And what they do is they give you two joints. So you get this part where you can basically put onto one side, and then you get this part which you put onto the other side, and then you have basically the different connectors. So this guy, for example, will go in there. This guy is going to go into the back part on that side, and they kind of just, well, okay, I haven't done it properly, but these guys will basically then be able to have this guy kind of being extended out of his arm, which is okay, which is not that bad. The only thing is you have to work on the actual balance of this, because the thing is this guy is pretty hefty. It's not that heavy, but it's definitely heavy for a piece of wire to be holding up into middle air. So you just kind of have to work out somehow how is this going to be working out. But this is pretty cool. I'm very happy with this. The other part, which also I'm very surprised at, I've actually never seen any I haven't seen a shield like this, basically, and I absolutely love how this thing works. Basically, what you have is a shield, and all his bloody weapons that you get are directly on the shield. So you don't have to have anything there. If you don't want him holding it, you can just store it away nicely. It's beautifully done. I really love how this way works. You've got your whole bazooka, or beam cannon, whatever you want to call it. You can actually store your beam saber on this thing, and you even have three what do you call this? Spears? You've even got 3 spears, and you've got slots in there so you can actually slide them back in and out. Very, very nicely done. Just make sure that when you put these guys in here, just press on these 2 black aspects. Let me take this part off. These 2 black, because this is what holding the 3 in. So if these guys, black pieces, are loose, then these guys are going to be loose as well. Now, to actually put them on Mr. Blitz himself is very easy. Again, you've got a hole there, you've got a peg there, plug it in, and that's basically what's going to be holding this guy. Now this thing becomes really big with the beam saber, so you have to make sure that you kind of bend his arms or turn this thing around a little bit, otherwise it's just going to whack into the floor. You've got a little bit of movement on this as well, in case you want to do something like this, which is very nice. So you do have articulation in the shield itself. Otherwise you just put it in there, and then you've got this piece which has got a huge hole on this side which pegs into there, and you can just maneuver it there. Plug it in, and there you go. The shield is on the Gundam itself. And again, you've got nothing else to do. Everything is there, everything is being stored, you've got nothing to worry about. It's very, very nicely done. I was very happy with the way, because this is always one of my biggest pet peeves. You've got a great Gundam, you've got some amazing accessories, but you can't do anything. You can't show him off. You can only hold one gun, and like a beam saber at a time. This way you can show his entire artillery off, and it's just there. You don't even have to worry about anything. That's awesome. I love that. So that's pretty much it. Now, I was actually very happy with this guy. I love the way he's come out. The build is okay. The build is a little bit of an issue for me, but that's a small issue. The color scheme is amazing. You get amazing accessories with these guys, and this guy looks good. Do a little bit of paint work, or even if you don't do that, just clean the pieces, put a little top coat on it, and put your stickers and decals. This guy's gonna look good on any shelf. Alright guys, that's it for me. I will see you guys in the next review.